Mary LaHammer from Twin Cities PBS with major news today, with U.S. Border Czar Tom Homan saying the surge of immigration action in Minnesota will come to an end. That's after more than 2 months now of aggressive action and two citizens who died, leading to tens of thousands of protests taking to the streets, gaining action and attention around the world. Homan repeatedly referenced the illegal agitators, but said cooperation from local officials, that's everything from the governor to the attorney general to various levels of law enforcement, really led to a change in tone the last few weeks when he came to town to lower the temperature and take command. He said a smaller footprint of federal agents will remain in the state in various locations. Governor Walz then announced an economic recovery plan ahead of the legislative session that starts next week in Minnesota. The governor's immediate statement was, quote, "The long road to recovery starts now. The impact on our economy, our schools, and people's lives won't be reversed overnight." He said that work starts today. The governor then spoke of Minnesotans who have endured what he called a federal invasion. He said it's unlike COVID or natural disasters. He said people in Minnesota showed determination in below zero temperatures and never wavered to stand up for principles and the Constitution. The governor remains cautiously optimistic and says the state is really left with, quote, deep damage and generational trauma. He says that he will ask the congressional delegation also for some help and some investment. He said, quote, "The federal government needs to fix what they broke." The governor proposed a small business emergency fund. Now, I've talked to some businesses and business leaders, and they're concerned about further fraud in state programs, and they like the idea more of a tax holiday. Talking with a business leader who said the economic impact really varies wildly. I've heard everything from catastrophic to no impact at all. This business leader said it really depends on location and industry. And there's also a new paid family leave program that's underway, and businesses are still figuring out how to deal with that and cover some employee absences they're expecting and seeing from that as well. Also in D.C., Minnesota member of Congress, Republican Majority Whip Tom Emmer testified, and he said, quote, "I've witnessed firsthand the consequences that come when our Democrat state leaders prioritize criminal illegal aliens over law-abiding Minnesotans." Emmer also went on to say, quote, "The unrest we've all watched unfold in Minneapolis over recent weeks was unnerving. It was heartbreaking, and any loss of life is tragic. But make no mistake, it was all a direct result of radical sanctuary state and city policies in Minnesota." It's the end of the quote from Republican Tom Emmer. Now, back in Minnesota, ICE action has proved deeply unpopular in the metro in particular. An NBC News KARE 11 Star Tribune poll showed 71% of respondents in the Twin Cities suburbs believe the tactics of ICE have gone too far. Those are big poll numbers, a lot of poll numbers coming in showing very unpopular. Speaking of polls, this one's interesting. Just today, Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan released a poll in that open U.S. Senate race now showing her beating fellow Democrat Angie Craig and Republican Michelle Tafoya, showing her beating both of them. And immigration looks to be a key issue in that open U.S. Senate race. The campaign says, quote, "Craig's votes to empower ICE and praise ICE are disqualifying with Democratic voters." Lieutenant Governor also issued a statement on the ending of ICE operations saying, quote, "I am relieved this violent paramilitary force will be removed from the streets, but I won't believe it until they're actually gone." She says Minnesotans stood together in the chaos and cruelty. She said she'll never give up on her neighbors, and she'll also never forget the fear, violence, and chaos the federal government laid at our doorstep. She said ICE killed 2 Minnesotans. She said, "Remember Renee Good and Alex Preddy and many more." And she said she'll never forget the children like Liam and Chloe who were targeted and traumatized. She said she'll also never forget the terrified looks on their faces. So a more perspective and statewide perspective. I think so much of the focus in media and press has been in the metro. So this week I have some statewide perspective on immigration issues and also looking ahead to next week's legislative session on this new independent podcast I have. I'll be talking with former legislative leaders with my co-host. We have former leaders Marty Seifert and Tony Surdich from outside the metro. That's on Spin Sisters. I'll put a link in there. And then much more coverage Friday night on Almanac. And then next week Almanac at the Capitol. We broadcast live each Wednesday night from the heart of the action there in the House chamber. We will have House leaders right now. We have Lisa Damuth and Zach Stevenson booked. That returns Wednesday nights on Twin Cities PBS. So please tune in for all of that. Thank you.